Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at all the polishes that I wore in November. I hope you guys had a good Christmas or are still having a good Christmas. In case this actually comes out on the right day. Anyway, I wore quite a few, and yeah, let's just get started. So this first polish is by Essence, and it's called the Masked Ball. This was actually from a Christmas collection, funnily enough, but this does not necessarily scream Christmas to me. This is a really, really dark, I almost want to say brown, even though it kind of looks purpley in the bottle. It's a really interesting color. It'll mostly look black or just really dark. But this had a pretty good formula. The bottle is kind of tiny, but I didn't find that made it thick or anything, so I needed 2 coats, but they weren't thick, or the formula wasn't thick. Next we have one of my favorites of all time. This is by Superchic Lacquer, and this is called Awesome Sauce. This is a chocolatey brown linear holographic. I only had to do 1 coat for this picture. I can see how you might technically need 2, but it depends on, the age of your bottle, your application, the structure of your nails, if you will. Like, if you have a lot of ridges, I can see how that can, create bald spots. And usually that's the case for me, but it wasn't so bad with this one for some reason. So yeah, that was really good. And like I said, this is one of my favorites, probably of all time. This next one here is by Catrice, and it's called Berrytale. This is always confusing to me because Essence has a polish that's also called Berrytale that I think I reviewed in November of last year. So that's kind of confusing, but either way, this is, again, a really interesting color. It looks kind of brown, but it has a little bit of purple in there, and this one actually has a shimmer. It's like a really subtle gold macro shimmer. I've talked about this before. What I consider quote-unquote a macro shimmer is when it's not a glitter, so it's not actual like 3D particles, but it's not like a smooth shimmer. It's basically a shimmer where you can pick out the individual particles. That's the case with this one. The formula was a little bit on the sheer side. I would call this a curly, but I only needed 3 coats, so it wasn't too bad. This next one is from a brand that I had not tried before, except for a glitter topper that I wore in September, but again, that's coming at the end of the year. This is by a brand called W7. Apparently this is a really big brand in Europe. I've never heard of this brand, but I now own some of their polishes. This is called Brownie. It's basically a blackened brown shimmer polish. It's really interesting. I personally think it's really pretty. It had a good formula, slightly streaky at times, but it worked out in the end. I only had to do 2 coats. And I'm just now seeing that this is a UK brand apparently, because the brand the account that I tagged is from the UK. Next we have another one that I picked up this time last year for Christmas. This is by Boat Polish and it's called Venus. This is a beautiful brown to orange metallic polish. It's so pretty. Also, did I say metallic? I meant magnetic. Duh. I'm sorry, I got Christmas brain and food coma brain, I don't know. But yeah, this also has a like holographic dusting in here. It is absolutely beautiful. It's probably the prettiest magnetic polish that I own. I don't own a bunch, but I do owe some, so. This next one is by Zoya, and this is called Kim. This is an interesting metallic burnt orange, I guess. It has a little bit of brown in there, a little bit of orange, like I said. I honestly, I don't know what to call this color. Either way, this was an interesting polish. So this is basically a pretty old polish. I believe it's at least 10 years old. But yeah, I mean, it kind of showed in the formula. It was a little bit sheer. It took a little bit of effort to build up, but it wasn't unmanageable. I did 3 coats for this one, and yeah, it looks how it looks. I I actually kind of like the look of this, even though this is not usually a type of color that I would wear. Next we have one by China Glaze. This is called Mahogany Magic. This is a slightly red-toned brown polish. Now, I will say that my swatch is not color accurate. I tried. It did not want to come out right. I started editing it, but then I realized that all I was doing was just like adding a wash of color, and that it didn't look realistic anymore. So I just left it like this, and I put in the caption that this is more red-toned in real life. This is a good polish as far as formula goes. The color itself is pretty good too. It only took me 2 coats, and yeah, I think this is a staple, to be honest. Next we have a Catrice polish. This is called Sophisticated Vogue. This is again, a really interesting color. This is, I want to say like a foily, I don't want to call it sparkly because it's not sparkly per se, but it's a really shimmery, light muted brown. I honestly, I don't have a clue how to describe this, but it is really pretty, so that's good. So what I will say about this color is, or about this polish rather, is that it is a little bit brush strokey. You can see that on my pinky. You can see it a little bit on the other nails too. I found that it really depended on how much polish you use, how quick you work with it, and all of that is kind of, trial and error. It only took me 2 coats in the end. I didn't sponge anything, so, it's doable. This next one is another, I almost want to say a recent purchase, but it's been a year. This is by FUN Lacquer, and it's called PSL, or Pumpkin Spice Latte, which is what it stands for. This is a cinnamon colored, a cinnamon colored scattered holographic polish. So what I will say about these being this one and another one that you're going to see next month, or in the next video rather, is that they dry pretty textured. They have a tendency to kind of clump up in places, the glitter does. There are these little tiny bar glitters in here that will kind of stack on top of each other and just create, a lot of texture. So that is something to keep in mind, but again, I'm going to mention my gel polish obsession. I use a gel top coat for everything that I use a peel-off base coat for. So that way I can smooth out pretty much any texture that there is. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about removing anything. It's pretty solid. And yeah, that's what I did with this. It's, the texture of the polish is something that you can get used to, unless you really, really, really hate it. But yeah, like I say, just, use a thick top coat or use a gel top coat. This next one is by KBShimmer. It's been a while since I featured KBShimmer. This is called Oh My Ganache, and that name, that's pretty descriptive. This is a dark chocolatey brown linear holographic. I think this is beautiful. The holographic in my picture is not super overwhelming. It's not super overwhelming per se in real life, but it is definitely there. So that is something to keep in mind. It only took me 2 coats, which is not super surprising with like a dark brown. I feel like dark browns are always super opaque. And yeah, I like this color, this hue, this tone. It just, I don't know, it feels good, if that makes sense. I hope I don't sound like a creep. Next we have a polish by Colors by Llarowe. This is called Figgy Pudding. This is, geez, how would I describe this? This is a purpley wine base with a lot of scattered holographic in here. It's basically holographic flakies. What I like about this is that the flakies sort of shine through the base, so it doesn't look, obviously silver. It's kind of tinted with the base color, and that's, it's pretty standard with this kind of polish, but I thought I'd point it out. The formula is pretty good with this one as well. Not too thick, not too thin, which is really good, and, there's also no texture, none of that, and it took me 2 coats to get this so big, and personally, I'm a big fan. Next up, we have another Color Club polish. Finally, I'm really obsessed with my Color Club polishes right now. So yeah, this one is called Beyond. This is actually a charcoal linear holographic polish. I realize now that it kind of looks a little bit tealy and like almost like green in like a little bit. It's not. It's like a charcoal. It doesn't really lean either way, I feel like. And like I want so bad to call this a black holographic, but it's not dark enough for that. But it also doesn't have any kind of tint, so I wanted to make that clear. Yeah, this is it's a beautiful polish. The formula is good. It only took me 2 coats, and the holographic is absolutely stunning. Next up, we have another one of those polishes where I can never tell which season they're supposed to be worn in. It's My Catrice, and it's called Provocative Pearls. This is a really weird, like, sandy, tan, nude color with this, I want to call it a copper shimmer. I guess it's a copper shimmer. It's just, I feel like I can never pick a season to wear this in. Like, I want to wear it in spring, but then it kind of seems too, like, boring. Not boring, but, like, too cold, if that makes sense. But then in fall, it seems too light of a polish, so I don't know. I wore it in November because I feel like I always wear my Misfits in October and November. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. This is definitely a little bit on the sheer side. It took me 3 coats to get it to what you see in the picture. I can see a little bit of shading, like underneath the polish, but it's not enough to call it like a visible nail line. So that's just, yeah. I do like this, but again, it's kind of a misfit. I never know what to do with it. Next, we have a polish by Dance Legend. This is called Roz. This is inspired by Monsters Inc. This was the only one of that collection that really spoke to me. I found the other ones a little bit boring, but that's just my personal taste. So this is, again, hard to describe. This is like a reddish brown multichrome. It goes to a gold and even a green, which is pretty phenomenal. Like, even just in this straight on picture, you can see like the full extent of the colors. I'm not gonna insert any other photos. I took a bunch. If you want to see them, go to my Instagram. I thought this was good. It's kind of brushstrokey in some cases. I feel like it's really unforgiving. Like, if you work with it too much, it definitely shows. If you have a heavy hand with it, it shows, that sort of thing. And then also, I felt like it didn't dry that quickly. And that could be because, maybe the polish was in storage for too long and that kind of messed with it. Maybe it was the season that I got it in. I know that, like, temperature shifts can mess with a polish. I don't know. I'm just saying that this is what my bottle was like. But overall, it's a beautiful polish. I can see myself using this for nail art. I can also see myself wearing this on its own. So I like this one. And I did 2 coats for this. This one is by Anna Gorelova. This is called Gadi. This is kind of like Brownie that I showed you earlier, but this is more red. This is like it's a reddish, I almost said purple. It's a reddish brown, but then it has these like holographic / iridescent tiny flakies. It's really interesting. I loved it for November. I love it for fall. You can probably even wear this in like January, February maybe. To me, it's more of a like pre-Christmas color though. I did 2 coats for this. I thought the formula was pretty good. It can be a little bit brushstrokey, but not as bad as some of the others in this video. This next polish is one that I cannot pronounce. So this is by Zoya, and I think it's called Lael? Lael? I have no idea, and I apologize if you are called this name. I cannot pronounce it. This is a really dark purple color. It's kind of on the warm side. It is definitely really dark. You can definitely confuse it with a black, but it's a beautiful polish, and I like the formula. It's a pretty standard formula, even though this bottle is a little bit older. I only did 2 coats, and this is also one of my staples if I just want to wear a cream. Next we have another Orly polish. This is called Country Club Khaki. This is just a slightly more olive-based nude, if that makes sense. Like, when you are matching foundation, you can have an olive undertone. This is what I mean by that. Yeah, I thought this was pretty good. This only took me 1 to 2 coats, which means a couple of the nails that you're seeing in this picture right now only have 1 coat, which is phenomenal with the color of this tone, hue, value, I don't know what to call it. I thought this was good. It was definitely on the thick side, which is, you know, not surprising with like a 1 coater or 1 to 2 coater. I like this. I'm not sure it looks good with my skin tone, but, you know, obviously that's completely personal. I think this is a good polish to pick up if you want a good nude. I wore a lot of polishes this month, so I really have to pick up the pace. I promise we're getting there. This is by OPI and it's called Take the Stage. This is a metallic-y, shimmery, foily, like dark orange color. I like this one. Again, it's not usually a color that I would wear, but I thought it was good. It was a little on the thin side, and you know, it had a tendency to kind of want to run and pull, but I like the finished product and I like the color, and I did 2 to 3 coats with this one. This next polish is by IQ, which is a brand that I've never featured before. It's a European drugstore brand. I don't buy from them ever, but I used to apparently. This is called Purple Powder. It's a... I can't tell if the base is like this or if it's, you know, manipulated by the gold shimmer, but this seems to be like a crossover between a purple and a brown, much like some of the other polishes in this video. And then, like I said, there's this gold shimmer in here. This is interesting. I'm actually not sure if I like this. It's different to me. I thought the formula was pretty good. This does dry matte. I think, yeah, I do have a picture, you know, both ways. And yeah, it was decent. It comes in a small bottle, so I'm not sure how much use I'll get out of it, but it's a decent polish. Next we have the polish that I wore for Thanksgiving. This is by Glisten and Glow, and it's called Turkey Trot and Tailgating. I had to wear this for Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate it, but I always do something for Thanksgiving. I don't know, it's just a thing. I also tend to do something for Independence Day, even though I'm not from the US. Anyway, this is like a slightly lighter brown linear holographic. I don't know how to describe the base color. It's kind of like a fudge color. It's kind of like a cross between a caramel and a milk chocolate color. This was really good. It did take me 3 coats, but I did not really mind because it is beautiful. I thought the formula was pretty good. Again, you know, a little bit sheer, but, you know, the outcome is absolutely stunning. And then this last polish is by Essence, and it's called Cozy Mountain Mornings. This is a slightly subdued forest green color with a really subtle silver shimmer. I love this polish, and I can't believe I haven't worn it yet before this. This is a 1 coater in some cases. I would probably recommend 2. It's a really beautiful color. It reminds me of January because it reminds me of pine trees and snow, but not necessarily in a Christmassy context. But yeah, I like this polish, and I thought the formula was pretty good too. Can be a little bit, you know, streaky sometimes, but it's not too bad. So yeah, that is all for this video. I'm sorry if it ran long. I actually don't know. But if it did, I'm sorry. If it didn't, that's great. I hope you guys had a good Christmas, or just, you know, a good Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, potentially. I don't have that many videos left to kind of catch up on. So next will be my Christmas haul, then my December polishes I wore, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I do have a couple of I have a couple of videos planned, but I don't know which order I'm going to do them in. So keep your eyes and your ears and whatever else peeled, and I'll keep you updated. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, which is where I post my swatches, and I will see you again very soon, hopefully.